Oh yeah, we feel
And
much.
people are looking at you differently, maybe.
I think people probably are looking at us different. I still get the sense when I go to the media days, and they still have that feeling of it's just Temple. It's the same old Temple. That's the feeling we get, but we really don't care. To be quite honest, we know exactly who we are, what we are, and my goal as the head coach is to be better every year than we were the last year. So that's so. I think we're better than we were last year, and hopefully next year we'll be better than this year. But the biggest thing for me is that our older guys have really matured and developed, and so there's a much different, sort of work ethic, attitude on the team, and it's, they impart that to the young guys.
How much different is that, like you say, like just the feeling within the locker room in 2 years? The difference between like the first year, like how people felt about themselves and like how they feel now.
Well, I think the players feel really good about themselves because they've earned it. They've worked hard. Sometimes people talk about confidence. Confidence comes from when you've prepared. You know what I mean? And it's demonstrated ability, and they've prepared really hard. There's not a guy in that locker room. There's not a guy in the team that's not tough. That's not.
Have been through wars.
Yeah, they've been through. They're scarred up. They've been through a lot of heartbreak and close losses. They've been through some really high moments. So, football's about making a decision to be, to every day to be the best you can be, and they've been on both sides. So I think they're making the right decisions right now.
How much of it is the fact that more and more now these are the kids that you recruit?
I think it's just time. You know what I mean? I think you shouldn't really be playing freshmen and sophomores. If you do, you make. They have a thing that says for every freshman you play, that's a loss. Well, we had some losses the first year. But there's a lot of freshmen we have now that if the first year we had they would have started, and right now we're saying boy, after a redshirt year he's going to be a great player. So. I just think it's time, development within the program. They know exactly what to understand. I can't even begin to overstate or I don't know what the right way to say that is. I can't tell you how important our strength staff has been. They have been phenomenal. And so we have guys, Shree Finch got here at 213. He's 258 pounds walking around out there right now. Even the freshmen, TJ Simmons got here at 177 pounds. He's 192 pounds right now, a month and a half later. So our strength staff is second to none, and they have really developed those guys. So I think the kids feel really confident now because they've put the work in.
Matt, Robbie just doesn't look like a guy that's been out for a year. Just could you tell me your early impressions of him?
Well, the greatest thing about Robbie is just his competitiveness. I mean, he only knows one speed, and that's what you're really looking for in a football player. He's always had great ball skills, the ability to track the football, and he's obviously fast. So he has worked hard this summer while he was taking classes to get eligible. He was also working out with the team, and he's had a chance to get back in the weight room and run. But we're excited to have Robbie just because he's so competitive. He brings such a just a different attitude to that wide receiver position, which is probably the deepest position on our team right now.
Another guy, Adonis. What did you see out of him in the first couple of days here?
Well, I was really impressed with Adonis all summer just because he's a pro. I mean, he come in on a Saturday morning, he's in here stretching, on a day off. I mean, he's one of those guys who tries to do everything right and really wants to be good. So he has a real professional approach to everything, and he's big and fast and can catch, learns well. Doesn't make excuses. He's our kind of guy. So he brings not just a lot of intangibles as well as tangibles to the group.
Coach, those two, along with Ventel and some other guys, all of a sudden you have a pretty big wide receiver core that kind of stood out to me. What do you think that can do for your team this year?
Well, it gives us depth because you need depth, right, to be able to play the entire year, and it gives us a lot of competition. I mean, there's guys, Ramon DeLoach, Sam Benjamin, they've played a lot of football. Brandon Shippen. I think John Christopher's going to have an unbelievable year. I mean, he's got all the speed on the outside. He'll be inside. He'll get back to sort of his numbers from 2013. So I think it's going to give us a lot of depth, a lot of competition, and some of our most talented guys are unhurt. Derek Thomas is he's 6'3", he's 4.35 in the 40, and now he has some guys he can look up to and try to emulate and really develop.
Matt, regarding the freshmen as a whole, the group as a whole, what do you think is the biggest learning curve for them out there over the first few days of camp, and what do you want to see out of them over the first few days?
Well, all I want to see them do is just kind of acclimate themselves to how we do things. And like I challenged some of them, I said, don't worry about if you're going to play this year. Don't worry about which position you're going to. Just worry about being the hardest working guy at your group and being as tough as you can be, mentally tough. So they've shown me that. They did a nice job this summer, and our older guys did a nice job this summer as they were here, bringing them into the group. But the hardest thing is you get here the first day, and all of a sudden, you got coaches yelling and screaming, and the older guys are yelling and screaming at you, and you're like, you don't know how to take everything. But we just try to envelop them and tell them, hey, this is, we're all on the practice field, we're all in this together, and off the field we'll have a lot of fun. So they seem like they're adjusting pretty well.
Is the running back spot a position where you could see freshmen
Oh,
contribute.
yeah,
With TJ
absolutely.
and Rockwell Armstead.
And Jagger Gardner. I mean, they're all in the mix. And really, I'll say this, even on the offensive line, any freshman, if we're going to play if he's good enough, I mean, we are here to win. And so whether it's, Critchwell Simpson's looked really good as a freshman wide receiver. I forget the Kareem Ali, Up the Grove, and Marchie are freshmen. They're all going to play. So we have a lot of freshmen, I think, that could play and help us. But the tailback position is obviously one of a lot of depth right now, some experience, and a lot of really good, impressive young guns. So we're gonna see what they do when we start hitting.
With Kareem Ali, can you tell that he was a mid-year transfer? Does that show out here that he had some extra time?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, especially on defense. Our defense is very, very complex, and I think Phil and Francis do a tremendous job of technique-wise, and he has come light years, technique-wise, and also just the maturity of understanding, how to work and all that. So that's why I don't even think of him as a freshman. I think of him as an older guy.
How about your quarterback? Because obviously a lot of people are looking at him to get back to more what he was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think PJ's going to have an outstanding year. I have no doubt about that. I think the ability for us to run the football again. 2013 we were third in the league. I think 150 yards rushing. I'm not great with stats, so if that's wrong, you can look it up. But the third, fourth, so we were better, right? We were 150 yards. We weren't very good, but we were better. Now we were only 100 yards. So if we can run the football, we're much better on the offensive line, and we have a lot of weapons outside. That with him growing up, turning the ball over less, I think he'll have a great year.
Jared Allen, he's out for now? Or?
No, he's out there. He's practicing.
Oh, he was. I
Yep.
thought his shoulder. Okay.
He had shoulder surgery at the season,
Okay.
unless he got hurt today and I didn't see it.
No.
Yeah, he and then he was out for the spring. But he's been out there. He's done a really nice job. Jared's a guy we've really challenged over the last 2 years to work ethic wise, and he had a really good summer. Really proud of him. He's a really instinctive, good player. So I expect him to compete for the starting Mike spot. Really, there's some questions on the line at the linebacker corps of who's going to start where.
Saw Praise sitting out. Is he all right? Anything?
I think he pulled his hamstring or something, So Praise has a tendency to get injured a lot, and so we're just going to do the best we can to get him healthy and make sure he understands we have a lot of other really good players.
Who else is
I know
in?
he pulled him back a little bit in the spring with the shoulder.
Yep.
How's he now?
Yeah, he's healthy. He's healthy, and I thought he's had a really good first 2 days. So he's a senior. He's kind of a converted wide receiver, then didn't get a spring in with Frizz, Coach Jackson, our new receiver coach. So getting him ready for getting him back in the fold has been nice.
Who else is competing with Jared at that middle linebacker spot?
We've got Nick Shargo, who's really a good player for us. Will Up the Grove, and Tyler's playing both Mike and Will. And at Will, we have Stephon Marshall, who's played a lot of football for us, and we have Chappelle Cook, freshman, who we think he'll play as a freshman, or he has a chance to play as a freshman. So, just sort of who the best two are is the competition.
And then Nate Smith is going to kind of be like that outside.
Yeah, we think Nate's going to be like a 3-4 sort of outside linebacker, pass rusher.
Do you think that's kind of based on what you guys did a couple of years ago with him? You think that's probably his best spot to kind of just allow him?
Yeah, Nate. Nate's a great kid. So, but you ask Nate to play within the structure of a defense, and hey, fit this guy. Nate's just a really instinctive. He's a football player. You know what I mean? And for us, like when you get one of those guys who he makes plays, you want to put him in a position to make plays. So, a couple of years ago, he was only a sophomore. He was still having sacks. I mean, he sacked the kid at Rutgers the last play of the game, and then the play that hit the pay, he's about that far away from knocking the ball out again. So we think he can be just, I keep telling him, I want you to, think you're James Harrison. I want you to be like that kind of a guy, difference maker at that position. Knowing if we have some injuries, he can always go back to Mike. But when he plays Mike, he's having to set things up for everybody else, and we think he can be a game changer, rushing the passer.
It seems like you had a lot of guys returning punts. That's going to be a wide open?
Yeah, and that's not a good thing. I'm glad you said that because in the staff meeting this morning I was screaming about we have too many guys returning punts. We want to have a punt returner. And we always look at what areas we're not very good at. We are not a good punt and kickoff return team, and we really haven't been. In 2011, Coach Adazio, we went 9-4. We were 25 yards of kick return. Matt Brown was back there. We've had James Nixon back there. We've had all these great returners. The last 2 years we've been very pedestrian, kick return and punt return. So we're trying some guys out, but then we have to make a decision soon. We have to get back to being a really good return team.
How about your kick return candidates?
Again, same thing. We have a bunch of guys. We think Robbie can help us. Jihad last year, Jihad actually averaged, I think, 23, 24. Right. So Jihad was good, just overall we weren't. So we have some guys that we think can do it back there. TJ Simmons, some of those young running backs can do it. So, but punt return, it's, whether is it going to be Robbie, is it going to be JC? We're not sure yet who it's going to be.
Position matchups, like individual offense, defense, anything you're looking forward to at camp, like quarterback or cornerback, wide receiver, or running back, linebacker?
Yeah, just overall. I mean, I'm just I'm so focused on just like the areas of concern that I have. So like I want to just make sure we're running the football well. And I want to, make sure we pick the ball off, and we didn't pick the ball off enough last year. And we only had 26 sacks. I want 40 sacks. So there's some areas that I pinpoint, like, hey, we've got to get to these numbers, and I try to follow those as best I can. So, but I'm concerned about really the running, who's going to be our running back and the O-line, how well we're running the football.
Is it too early to set tangible goals for these guys? Do you ever talk to them about that, or is it just like we got Penn State on September 5th?
So I talk every year at the beginning of the year, and I don't mind sharing. I talk every year about what our goals are as a program, just overall mission statement of the program, and then sort of the goals of the program, and that in all areas, right? And then I talk about just like our specific goals football-wise. Our specific goals football-wise are to win the conference championship, right, and go to a bowl game, right? And beyond that, to go to a major bowl game. That's what we're trying to get done. So you're not going to win the conference championship every year, or maybe you can, but you want to be relevant in that. You want to be in that mix. So we were sort of in that mix a little bit last year at times, and we went into those big championship games, and we didn't do it, right? So teaching our guys now how, when you get into those big games, how to handle it. I'd love to beat Penn State. Trust me, I wake up every night. That's the first game I want to beat Penn State. I know they want to beat us, but that doesn't affect the championship. You know what I mean? So just trying to teach our guys, hey, every opportunity we're going to try to win. We're going to try to beat Penn State, and then at the same time, we want to win the conference.
You got a huge game after that. I mean, that's.
Oh yes, that was pretty resounding.
That's almost a bigger game.
It's a bigger game in the grand scheme of things, right? But it's not the first game. So we're trying to teach our guys, hey, these are the goals, and then it comes down to we want to win the first game. How do we win the first game? We have to be great today, and that's hard for young guys. It's hard for me, right? But just trying to get them not to look ahead. So what a great opportunity at Penn State. What an unbelievable opportunity against Cincinnati, where they just picked them. I mean, they were resoundingly picked as the team to win the conference, and they should be. I mean, they got a great offense.
Tell your kids, we played Memphis, and they won the league last year. We probably should have beat them at our place, and that's maybe how close we were.
I think our guys know how close we are. Yeah, I mean, I think they have a lot. We have a lot of respect for Memphis, but 2 years in a row now we've lost to the conference championship on a field goals time expired. So we're one of the conference championships, champions. So we know how close we are, but we also see the areas. That's why I point them out. Like, hey, we're not very good at this. I mean, we had so many turnovers last year. We're last in the country in third down. We were 42% 2 years ago in third down. So I'm not telling our kids, hey, we got to do something crazy. I said we have to go back to where we were in 2013 on offense, and on defense we have to stay where we were in 14. So we have to put those 2 years together, and that's But again, it's about the development of the players and the team, and they've come so far that they, I think they have the right approach moving ahead.
You mentioned position battles earlier. What are a couple of those other ones that in your mind? I know all of them are important, but a couple of key ones that you're really focused on.
Well, I'd say this. There's only a couple people that I think have the starting job. So even in some places, it's like, who's our backup quarterback going to be? That's a real thing. Now, could someone beat PJ out? Absolutely. I mean, he turned the ball over too much. If he turns the ball over, he's not our quarterback. But right now, it's sort of, he's sort of the starter. Who's the next guy? And then can that guy beat that guy out? Is that, at running back, at wide out? I mean, we're excited to have Robbie and Adonis, but, they're not crowned. I mean, we have a lot of good, Ramon DeLoach, that game against Tulane last year, he was dominant. He was a dominant player in that game. Broderick Yancey was a really good player at the end of last year. So there's a lot of, and then on defense, who Nate Hairston has come on as a corner, that we think Nate Hairston, if he continues to develop, will be a great player here and will be an NFL draft pick. I mean, that's how high we are on Nate, as long as he continues to develop. So is he going to beat one of those guys? So there's a lot of things like that we're excited about.
You mentioned acclimation. How has Kip Patton done with that? He had a nice spring, and then what have you seen from him since then?
Kip is very talented. Kip's a very nice kid. Kip's just really far away in the maturing process. So today actually was his best practice he's ever had at Temple. So I'm really fired up, because if we can get Kip on board with us, he's a weapon. He's a physical freak, and he's a nice kid. He's a basketball player, and he's had a really hard time converting to football, the demands of this. We don't kind of come out and throw the ball out and say, hey, guys, I'm sure basketball's really hard, but I mean, we beat each other up a lot, right? So there's a physical component to it that, he hasn't always loved. So, but he seems like he's coming, which would be really exciting for us, because he's, like I said, he's one of those guys you say, if we can get him on board, man, we have a real weapon there.
How about your place kicker, who struggled a little bit at the end of last year?
Yeah, I mean, he missed kicks in the last 5 games. I think he's matured. But at the same time, right now, he's the starter. I've challenged 2 guys behind him to beat him out. And then, he's looked really good so far. But, our punting's a real concern for me. We're not punting the ball well. We didn't punt it great last year. We're not punting it real well right now. So all those areas are of concern. So, like I talked about the kickoff and punt return, if we can just fix the special teams, just improve them, I mean, we'll be significantly better.
So even that kickoff specialist job is up for grabs?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think we kicked the ball. We were second to last in the conference last year in touchbacks, and we only kicked 20% of our kicks in the end zone. So we've made a point of emphasis. We got to kick the ball in the end zone. Now we were second in the conference in kickoff. I mean, we have some crazy dudes running down there on kickoff. We were fun to watch on kickoff coverage, but if we start kicking the ball in the end zone more, we'll be even better.